Our first guests are Deborah Rochelle, Manager of Service Excellence and Volunteers at Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center, and hospital volunteer Kay Lyman. Well, welcome to the show today, Deborah and Kay. What a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having us here.
Well, you're quite welcome. I would like to start today by learning a little bit about your roles at the hospital. So, Deborah, let's start with you. What is it that you do at Novant Health Brunswick Medical Center?
I am the guest services manager and also the volunteer manager there.
Great. And how about you, Kay? What is it that you do there? What's your role?
I am the volunteer liaison. I do orientations with new patients and do special projects in the hospital and outside the hospital.
Wow, well, we'll get into that a little bit later because that sounds like a really involved and very interesting job.
It's a lot.
Deborah, how long have you been at Novant Health?
I've been with the hospital 14 years and the volunteer manager for around 6 years.
So you have quite a long tenure there.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, now I know you've been a volunteer for quite a while. How long has it been?
5 years.
That's a lot of time.
Yes.
Do you count the hours? Do you know how many hours you've worked?
As of December 31st, I had worked 4,100 hours in 5 years.
Wow, that is a lot.
It's amazing.
That is amazing.
I love it.
Well, I'm glad that you do because we love having you. You guys do an awesome job. Well, Kay, tell me about some of the things that, some of the roles that the hospital volunteers play.
We have volunteers that work in the gift shop, patient registration, guest services, surgery waiting, surgery transport. We have people who do special cards, radiology, they work, the ED.
Geez, those are like real jobs, Kay. That's a lot.
Are.
That's a lot.
We have volunteers in almost every department.
What a great service that provides to the facility and to the community.
It's good.
You should be very, very proud. It seems like you have an opportunity for pretty much anyone.
Yes.
Deborah, let's talk a little bit about the volunteer chaplains. I know you have a big program there also.
We do. At this point, we have 17 volunteer chaplains, and they are there Monday through Friday. They come in Monday through Friday and round on our patients. And then we have chaplains that are the on-call chaplains, so that if there's a situation or an emergency, then they're called in. So they're very dedicated. They're people from our community. They could be anyone from a minister at a church to laymen that are dedicated to doing this kind of work. So really dedicated people.
And the chaplaincy program comes up under your purview.
It does.
Is that correct?
It does.
It's part of which hat do you wear when you're in charge of
volunteer? Because they're
they
truly
are considered volunteers.
They're
then.
completely volunteers.
So
right.
They're part of that whole volunteer system.
They are.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, it seems like there's volunteers in every area of the hospital. How do you believe that their contributions help to ensure that positive patient experience that we're always talking about?
I think the volunteers are the most dedicated people that I've ever met. This job is the best job I've ever had because it's amazing to see these people come in and be of service. They're giving of their very precious time. They're very dedicated. They come in, and what they do is they really help with our standards, that caring, that knowing those patients and those visitors and everything, and they're the ones that really start that off from the moment, as you mentioned, as they come in the front door. So they are the ones that help us to really be able to do that.
Now, Kay, I know there are specific requirements that volunteers must meet, and there's probably an orientation process and all that. And I know that's part of your duties, right, to do the orientation. Talk to me a little bit about the requirements for a volunteer.
When we get an application for a volunteer, we send them a letter and invite them to an information session. We do the information session. Deborah goes out everything that we expect a volunteer to do and how many hours they would have to work in order to be a volunteer. They have to see the nurse. Once the nurse clears them, I will call them and set up a one-on-one orientation with them. We go through the whole orientation, we do paperwork, then we go through the hospital. I show them every department in the hospital and show them where we would have volunteers working. talk to them about what they like and dislike, where they would like to work. And then we
good.
assign them to a position, sign a trainer for them. They work with a trainer until they're comfortable saying, okay, I can work by myself now. And then we let them start volunteering by themselves.
Is there any type of a background check done on these folks?
There is, and that's a requirement from Joint Commission. That's an accreditation
Right.
board, so we do that. But we also do it because it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, that's quite an intense, I mean, it sounds really nice, but there's quite a bit to the orientation process. It's a lot more than it used to be.
And that's why we have the informational meeting, is so that we can explain to people before they ever come in and really start come in to volunteer, because we want them to realize what it means to volunteer in a hospital. So that gives them the opportunity to learn about what it means,
Right.
and then they can make the decision about whether that's
They
what
want
they
to
want
move
to do.
forward
Right.
with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Kay, you mentioned a number of hours and what have you. Deborah, is there a required number of hours that that a volunteer must work?
Well, we ask for 4 hours a week minimum. So that could be one shift a week. So they can volunteer anywhere from 4 hours a week all the way up to 2 or 3 days a week, as Kay does. She comes in at least 2 days a week, sometimes more than that, and works out and volunteers
I see
all
her
day.
all the time.
Yeah, and volunteers all day. But it really depends on what the volunteer is willing to give us, because a lot of our volunteers also volunteer at other places.
I see. I never thought about that.
Right. So it's what they can give us, and the minimum, though, is 4 hours a week.
Well, I know, you probably know, but I learned that National Volunteer Week is April the 12th through the 18th, so you're going to have a special week coming up.
We will.
And I assume that we're going to celebrate that. Is that correct?
We do every year, and we have this wonderful luncheon for them. Last year it was at Brick Landing. We've had it at Sea Trail in the past also, so we do a great luncheon for them. We celebrate the number of hours that they've had. And then all during the week, we have special treats in their work area for them too.
Oh,
so,
that's nice.
so we just want them to know how much we appreciate everything they've done. Kay has her hour pin on today,
see.
so they get their hour. They get an hour pin, and it shows how many hours they've given, accumulative all the way through.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there other events planned throughout the year other than the luncheon that you just mentioned?
Yes.
How about around the holidays? Do you do something around the holidays?
We do a volunteer party. We do a party for our employees.
I know about that one.
Good food.
Good
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, you do. I know I see you out and about quite a bit, and I know there's various things throughout the year, but I think that holiday party really is something the employees really enjoy.
They do, and the volunteers, they're the ones that bring the food in for us, so that's what makes it really special for the employees, is that the volunteers completely do this for the employees every year. And then we, of course, the volunteer holiday party that we do for the volunteers, we have a wonderful luncheon for them, and we do special, we give them prizes. We do door prizes. They like that.
nice.
Yeah. And they dress up in their holiday attire. And of course, sometimes, and we have Santa. Santa always comes, and he comes to the employee party too. So we have fun. We have a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
We
I mean,
do.
You do. You have
A tea
a
for
tea?
the home volunteers.
Yes.
Tell me about those home volunteers a little bit.
I would love to tell you about our home volunteers. As you can see, we have some things right
We
here.
do.
We do, and we're really excited about our home volunteers. We have 50 groups that support our hospital, 50. We do.
I just want to show some of these things. They're beautiful.
Aren't
I
they?
love the little
Yeah.
teddy and the blanket.
Yes.
And these cards.
The cards are actually made by our volunteers at the hospital. We have a card making group that comes in, and they do baby
This is so
cards.
sweet.
Isn't that beautiful?
This is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also do special holiday cards for the
I see those.
for the hospital for our patients. So that's in the hospital. But then the home volunteer groups, as you can see, there's baby caps and blankets that we provide every new baby.
This is so
I know.
sweet.
Isn't that beautiful?
Look at that.
I know. Can you believe that fits on a little head?
No.
I
Look
love
how
it.
precious.
I know. We love it. And then they do things like the little. We just love. I want this one. Isn't that adorable?
That's adorable.
I know.
What's this?
You want to tell them about that?
That is a gown for the little kids that come into the ED.
Oh.
The home volunteers said they
That's
felt
it.
sorry for the little kids with the big
Big
gowns,
old-
so they make gowns, and
And there's.
they get to take them home with them.
Oh, they
when
do?
they're done.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
wonderful. our home volunteers are absolutely wonderful in what they do for us.
Yes.
So every year we do a tea for them in May, and it's kind of grown over the past couple of years. This last year we had almost 100 people there, I think, and
Yes.
we provide them with some of the things that they need to make these wonderful gifts. So they come to the tea, and we give them door prizes, and we give them those gifts, and we celebrate and thank them for everything they've done for us.
Great, that's great. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time.
Oh.
And I would love to have you come back, because I know that you do a lot with the community college around scholarships
Yes.
and what have you. So would you agree to come back?
We would love to.
Great. Well, if there's anybody out there who's interested in volunteering, how can they get in touch with you?
They can come by the hospital anytime, go to the front desk. We have applications there. They can call Natalie, the coordinator. We can get applications out to them in the
Great.
mail, and then we'll send them an invitation to come to the information session.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
you.
Kay, thank you so much for all the time that you devote to Brunswick Medical Center. It's our pleasure.
I love it.
And I'm so happy to hear that. So I hope to see you guys again soon.
Thank you, June, for having us.
You're quite welcome.